Now we knew that it wasn't going to be long before Drake stands and all of his cheerleaders and all the paid propagandists came out and tried to defend Drake in this here lawsuit, or being not even a lawsuit against Drake, but the lawsuit against Spotify in which Drake is named. We also knew that they would totally disregard any of the allegations, totally disregard questioning whether or not there was any veracity to it. They want to bypass that conversation. There's nothing they want to say. Now the question was, and always is, how crazy they gonna sound, right? How far are they gonna go with this one? How they gonna spin it? Well, at least we got one of them, and that's Poetik Flakko. He came out, and this got to be the most untenable, baseless, ignorant statement that I've heard so far. I mean, I ain't heard what Maul had to say yet, and I am anxious to see what Joe Budden and them got to say. But this one right here takes the cake, and it makes it even worse because you got people on X talking about like, oh man, this boy's just, come on, man. At some point, y'all, the glazing got to stop. Like, man, you ain't sticky enough yet? Come on, man. Let's go. Anyway, let's get right to this little clip.
You West Coast dudes need to be embarrassing yourselves, man. This is sick, man. Must y'all be sellouts all your lives?
All right, we're going to start right there. And look, I'm going to pause. I ain't going to let it play all the way. I got some things to say. So, first of all, he says, you West Coast dudes. Now, I don't know if he's from the West Coast, but don't he be on the West Coast? Whatever. You West Coast dudes, and must y'all be sellouts? I got two questions. One, this is a class action lawsuit. So I don't think this is just about the West Coast. I think this is more about artists who are being screwed over by Spotify because they are, I guess, turning a blind eye to artists like Drake who are gaming the system, right? So it has nothing to do with West Coast, East Coast. It just so happens that one of the people named in it is from the West Coast. That's first and foremost. How are they selling out? That's what I want to know. How are they selling out? What are they selling out to? So should they not do it just because it's Drake? So we already starting off on the wrong foot. Because none of, like, if you're going to make an argument in favor of your guy, right? If you're going to go through the glaze pool, man, at least come with something that's solid that might provoke a little bit of thought, right? He's already starting off on the wrong foot. Nothing here, this makes no sense. West Coast, East Coast, it doesn't matter. Selling out, what are they selling out? If anything, this is actually something that's actually for the little guy, contrary to what Drake tried to propose to us, right? This is actually for the little guy.
So they want us to believe this struggle rapper from the West Coast called RBX was able to fund millions of dollars in investigative research by himself.
Okay. Again, you're attacking one of the people who's a part of this class action, and you're still not getting to the veracity of the allegations. Who he's funded by, none of that matters. None of that matters because the conversation needs to be, is this true? Can we find out what evidence they got? Let's see what they got. Let's see what they present. Maybe the evidence is really strong. Maybe it's coming from these investigations that's been taking place. Or maybe not. But again, deflect, distract. Now this works really well on P-brain Drake stands. And I want to differentiate between the P-brain Drake stands and Drake fans, because a lot of y'all know better. The fans, that is. But the P-brain Drake stand, they couldn't know better if they tried, right? They're just like a single celled amoeba, like just Drake. Like they're the people that they're probably talking about who stream for 23 hours, 23 and 1. That's it. That's all they get, man. So this ain't for them because they don't know no better. This is who he's talking to, though, because he know they are incapable of even thinking that far, right?
To uncover Drake's back-end stream data that was able to use geomapping to prove that Drake is buying billions of streams each and every month.
But was it true, though? But is it true, though? Is it true though? He ain't getting into that. Is it true though? And if it is, what does that mean, Mr. Flakko? What does that mean? You need to ask those two questions. Is it true? And if so, what does that mean? You're not, and in a sense, you're acknowledging that they got some pretty solid evidence. Is he not? He's saying, hey, RBX can't do this on his own. He got backers. He got some big time backers. And they putting a lot of money behind this thing. How else do you get access to this info? Oh, what info is that? So you mean to tell me this is legit? Is that what you're telling me? Are you telling without telling? Is that what you're doing? Are you saying that there's some substance to this? There's some meat on the bone? Is that what you're telling us? This is what happens when you try to go into defense mode without a plan. All right? Let's hear that again.
So they want us to believe this struggle rapper from the West Coast called RBX was able to fund millions of dollars in investigative research by himself to uncover Drake's back.
Plus, who wants us to believe that? Who wants us to believe that? No one said or neither tried to get us to believe that RBX, this is a class action. So it says the class action suit in which Drake is not named as a defendant and which does not allege any wrongdoing on the part of the once dance hitmaker is brought on behalf of plaintiff RBX and a similarly situated class of music recording artists, songwriters, performers, and other music rights holders. And so saying it just about RBX and him having $1 million behind him, or anybody who might be working on his behalf, helping him to collect this information, right? But again, I do find it interesting that he's glossing over this aspect of things like it's nothing when really this is really important. And he's in a sense acknowledging that they got some legit info to support this lawsuit, to me.
Back-end stream data that was able to use geo-mapping to prove that Drake is buying billions of streams each and every month.
But did he do it though?
And because of this, he wants Spotify to compensate him because Drake buying streams is the reason why him and his struggle buddies are now successful rappers in the streaming era.
Super oversimplification, not what it's about at all. It's about Spotify allowing things like this to happen. Drake being the biggest artist, like y'all claim, who has allegedly 37 billion botted streams. This takes money and food off of their table, out of their pocket. It has nothing to do with being a struggle artist at all. This has to do with basically people stealing from them, right? Spotify allowing their share of revenue to be stolen because of the use of fake bots. And it just so happens, as of right now, Drake is named as one of the biggest examples of this. And Spotify knowing about it, they're claiming that Spotify knew about it and allowed it to happen. That's why Spotify is being sued, not Drake. See, he's trying to make this about RBX and the other people that's a part of the class action or who might even join in on this. What about all of them, Flakko? What about all of them? What about the other people? Are they struggling too? So you mean to tell me they should just sit back and because it's Drake, they should just take it without no Vaseline, right? Because, oh, it's Drake. God forbid we say something. We don't want to be looked at as sellouts. We can't say nothing because it's Drake. Let's find somebody else to name. Can't do it because it's Drake. We gonna be looking like starving artists.
I'll tell y'all this, man. First off, he don't got the millions of dollars to fund this, bro. UMG is who funded the research. UMG is who had access to that information. UMG is part owners in Spotify, which is why they only got Spotify data. They don't got Apple Music data or any.
But is it true though? So is he telling us that the data is legit? Is that what he's doing right now? Is he letting us know that the data can be trusted? Is he letting us know that there's a strong case here being built? He's not saying it didn't happen. He's not saying there's no way that this can be true. He ain't saying that they got false information. He's saying, hey, there's no way he got the money to do this. This had to come from UMG because they got access to the info. Interesting. Continue.
Where else? Drake filed 30 motions in the Eastern District of New York to get the same information they got about Kendrick Lamar. They denied it. UMG are the only ones who had this information. They gave it.
First of all, I want to know how he knows that UMG is the only ones that have this information. One. Two, I don't see why UMG would go against Spotify and Drake. Why would they give that to RBX and the rest of the people he's putting in this class action to help support their case? I don't know. Unlike him, I'm gonna just say I don't know. It just doesn't make sense for them to do that, but who knows, right? Maybe to get back on Drake is that real. I don't know. Either way, I think more importantly is the fact, or you're not trying to discredit whether or not the information exists, is real or not. You're saying there's no way he could have got access to it on his own. The more these people talk, the more they just dig a hole for Drake. I can't, like, they do this. They try to do these mental gymnastics only to flip and fall on their face, man.
To them lawyers, they gave it to this West Coast jigaboo, right, called RBX, and they're using him, as they've always done for the last 50 years, to destroy and attack people of the culture.
Drake ain't of the culture. And is it true, though? That's all I'm saying. Drake ain't of the culture. And is it true, though? Did he buy 37 million streams? Do they have, is all this information about the geolocation and bots moving and all these streams coming from areas that had no residential, that wasn't residential areas? Is it true? Because that is what's important. And if it's true, what does it mean? They don't want to talk about that. And this ain't even a good deflection. This ain't good. This ain't even a good deflection, because everything you can tear down easily. This is a really, really, really bad, if you want to call it defense. This is a really, really, really bad attempt at distracting people. Whoa, it's just a bunch of starving artists and if they got the info, it would have had to come from UMG because they're the only one who got access. Oh, so hold on. So the info's true? Is right? Is that what you're telling me? Come on, man.
This is just another example of the West Coast selling us out. This lawsuit is not going anywhere.
Who the fuck is us?
He's not winning this lawsuit. He took the butter biscuits to be the leader of this. Okay, it's no coincidence. Okay, a dude named RBX, who's the cousin of Snoop Dogg, associates of Kendrick Lamar, is the one who signed up. This lawsuit is to destroy Drake's legacy.
But is it true though? Is it true though? Are you telling me that UMG helped them because they got access to the info? Because if you are Flakko, nothing else matters. Nothing you're saying matters. I don't care who RBX is. I don't care whether he's a star or a starving artist. None of that matters. The only thing matters, is it true? Can the information be trusted? You are not addressing that. You're not addressing that. You're trying to distract us because nothing you're saying matters. These guys aren't sellouts. Who are they selling out to and what are they selling out for? But because they've been getting screwed over by Spotify, right?
Destroy Drake's credibility is to take away the only thing Drake really got left, which is his accolades. If you can slander him enough to prove, yo, these accolades is bought out, you can destroy Drake at this point, right? Because Drake got nothing else left but those accolades.
Well, we all know that. But guess what? We also know that those accolades are built on a foundation of sand. And it's not RBX or anybody else who's going to destroy that. It's Drake. Anyone. Man, RBX and them are just doing what they got to do because they got screwed over.
West Coast, man, y'all do better, bro. All right, y'all do better, man. Sell out.
All right, that was whack. I ain't even gonna lie. That was a really bad attempt at deflection and distraction, and if you want to call it defending fucking Drake. Now, some people say that, oh, well, isn't this the same thing as when Drake sued UMG and y'all went in on Drake and now you're justifying? Nah. hold on, hold on. There's a very distinct difference. Now, Glass Malone talked about this too on his stream. Let's check out what he said.
So Flacco asked, do we support this lawsuit but not Drake's lawsuit? I don't make a dime off either lawsuit. The issue with Drake's lawsuit is he's suing Universal because
he got his ass whipped.
they're promoting a
Right.
record that's insulting him, and he doesn't like the insults. So he's saying, hey, Universal, I don't like your
And that's it right there. He sued Universal because he didn't like how successful the diss track was, not like us. It wasn't about anything else. That was already proven. Every other thing that he named in that lawsuit was shot down. At its core, it was all about a man being embarrassed and not being able to take it. Had nothing to do with being screwed over, being robbed, Spotify, knowing that illegal things are happening, not paying them, had nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with that. At its core was defamation.
doesn't like the insults
Ass whipped.
because they are promoting a record that's insulting him, and he doesn't like the insults. So he's saying, hey, Universal, I don't like you're promoting this record that defames me in the middle of a diss record battle. This law,
I do find it funny though that Flacco went on this stream just to ask that question. This nigga mad. He got so mad. He probably made that short clip I just played. He probably made that after this because he liked the answer. So he's like, "Oh, these West Coast niggas, nobody's agreeing with me." It made that dumbass video.
suit is different, right? Because it's about him suing Spotify saying, hey, all these artists are benefiting more, and you know that they're cheating.
Right, right.
If that's a
and
real
that's-
honest question, like if you don't kind of know the difference of what's happening, which I think, Flacco, you're smart enough to know the difference, but just
I think Glasses, you giving them too much credit, my brother.
in case, here's the confusion. The confusion, Flacco, is, hey, here is the problem. Drake suing UMG because, hey, you guys are promoting a record that's insulting me. It's defaming me. That's why hip hop
Exactly.
wasn't necessarily, well, we were opposed to the lawsuit. If he was suing the label for whatever he was suing them for, nobody would care. But if you're suing the label because of a battle that you're in and somebody's actually insulting you in this battle, right? In a battle that you're insulting them back and you're suing the label for promoting said record, that's bullshit on the side of hip hop. None of us are in support of either lawsuit. None of us are in support of lawsuits. We don't know enough about the legal process to give a fuck. Even with, RBX, like none of us are a part of this class action lawsuit. You know what I mean? But you also understand the difference. So you got to be honest on that.
I hate when people do that right there, man. You know what I'm saying? I hate when people do that. Oh, so what's the difference between this and what Drake did? A whole lot of shit is different between this and what Drake did.
It's not hypocritical. Like y'all kind of got to grow up, man. Like
Fact.
That shit is crazy.
listen, it's okay to critique artists you like. It's nothing wrong. These people will be just fine without you being ridiculously kind of ignorant to what's happening. If you don't know the difference to what's happening. Yes, I know we got trolls in the comment, but it does give me a chance to explain what's happening.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So this is the difference between these two lawsuits. This lawsuit is clearly a play. It's a play against Spotify based off of something that's happening. That's their business. They'll figure it out when they figure it out. None of us are in support of anything. None of us are going to court. We're just describing the lawsuit. No, I don't think RBX is the money. I think the lawyers. The irony is, a couple months ago, some offices were raided in some UMG offices were raided in Turkey. And at that time, obviously the Stan Wars is going on, and people thought it had something to do with Kendrick.
Hey, that's a good point he made, because y'all remember when that happened. Well, especially if you ain't on X, maybe you didn't hear about much, but on X, they was gloating. They was like, see, yeah, now it's Kendrick's about to go down. Yeah, it was all about Kendrick when all that stuff happened. Now, they want to discredit everything because it might not be about Kendrick. Most likely it. I'm just saying.
Fast forward, here we are, that raid in Turkey. Now you're seeing what it is.
Right.
So a class action lawsuit is usually stimulated by attorneys who understand what's happening. So this is more about the attorneys figuring out a way to shake Spotify down.
Yeah,
All something that we all know is happening.
Yeah.
But, you know, you want to see what happens at the end. So it's not are we in support of it, but I do find an irony.
And you know, there's a chance that people like RBX and them, they probably knew, but I'm just saying there's a chance that maybe he didn't know or didn't know the extent of it or had an idea but couldn't prove it. Like I feel like a lot of them probably knew but couldn't prove it. And those attorneys, when they get that info, they'll contact you like, hey man, we got some information. However they get their information, right? Private investigators, who knows? A little bit of money, exchange hands. They want to make money too. They're in this for all the money. So of course the attorneys don't got a dog in the fight one way or another when it comes to what artists are involved. They just know here's an opportunity to get people some money because of these things that were happening. Let's run the play. And this is the part that people like Flakko. This ain't even disingenuous. This is, man, it's almost like you would expect more from somebody with a platform that big. You know what I mean? A little more level-headedness. Not this. What this is just desperate and goes beyond glazing because it's so transparent, man. It's so flimsy. Like you have nothing to stand on. Glasses sound like he's exasperated even trying to explain this or play these games. Like, why y'all playing fucking stupid about this?
Me about you opening that door, right? Like Drake opening that door, and now you're going to be somebody's making you the centerpiece of the thing you were complaining about the most.
Yeah.
So like if it wasn't for the defamation case, if you were saying here it is, cool. If it wasn't about another artist record that's insulting you, cool.
And that there is the main point, and that is the main distinction between the two lawsuits. One was a crybaby, a sore loser who didn't like the fact that he lost a rap battle and he felt embarrassed. And at the core of it was defamation. And he just wanted to think he was going to hold somebody accountable, and it didn't work out. It didn't go his way. Him and his fan base still can't take that. This comes out, and now it's like, oh, what's the difference? There's a huge fucking difference. Let's not act like there's not, man. The two reasons for it is exactly or totally different. And again, I'll go back to what Flakko said out of his own mouth. And I don't think this is the case, but let's just run with his thought, his line of reasoning. RBX ain't doing this by himself. He's being backed by people like UMG because they have access to the info. Okay. If they're feeding him the info, so you're telling us this info can be trusted then. Is that what you're telling us? Because you didn't try to discredit that. You didn't try to discredit anything. You tried to discredit him and make it seem like because he's some sort of peon, which he ain't, that just because of that on that and that alone, there's no merit to this. That makes absolutely no sense, especially since you're just not even trying to have a conversation about the actual case itself. And in your own disapproval, right? You kind of acknowledge that the information that is alleged to be in their possession could be trusted because it probably came from the company. Even though I don't think it came from UMG, I'm just saying, but this is the madness, man. This is the madness. Mind you, we got to keep count. We still almost 2 years out. And there's still no resolution. There's no resolution. Y'all gotta let it go, man. Let it go. Tell me what y'all think about this in the comment section below. And also, do you think UMG is a part of this or not? I don't know as far as giving him the information. I think the information probably came from investigations, and these law firms got enough money to pay people, investigators, pay other people to get the info. So however they go about that doesn't have to come from UMG. So let me know your thoughts though. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next one.